This week on 49ers Cal High Sports Report presented by U.S. Bank, we end our season with some of the stories that touched our hearts over the past decade. We'll meet the wheelchair basketball star and see what he's doing now. We have the story of the Saratoga basketball players' battle to get back on the court. But first, the amazing story of Antonio Garcia, the Bellarmine football player, and his amazing recovery. The Bellarmine Bells went over Folsom this past December, gave the Bells their most successful season in school history. A big part of that win was running back Antonio Garcia, playing his biggest game in his final season. Garcia scored the Bells' final 2 touchdowns in a thrilling 42-35 win. But football is not Garcia's best sport. Antonio has a baseball scholarship to play next season at Kansas University. The perfect ending to what was the perfect high school career. But that all changed on March 26th at the Bellarmine alumni baseball game.
We were just playing in the alumni game. I woke up fine, got myself there fine, took BP fine. My neck just started hurting like super bad on both sides. Like it was just like standing there, it was like 10 out of 10 pain. I took 4 Advil to try and like help the pain, and that just made me nauseous. So I went out for the first half, somehow fielded a ground ball and threw it to first, and actually got the guy out. I was like, no, I can't do it.
We had called, his pediatrician, and because these symptoms, showed up within a matter of 8 hours, I just thought, hey, I'm gonna watch my boy. He's having the flu.
Antonio's condition went downhill from there. He was taken to Good Samaritan Hospital and then to Lucille Packard Children's Hospital at Stanford. He lost all feeling to his limbs. Even the extreme pain in his neck went away. He eventually stopped breathing and had to be intubated.
Your perspectives change. It goes from, I'm sitting at when it was during those first 12 to 24 hours where it was a tough time for us at Lucille Packard. It went from wanting to see my son leading off for the University of Kansas to just simply, wanting to see my son get married. Wanting to see my son have kids. Your perspective changes a little bit, but it makes you stronger.
But from there, everything started to get better, doctors saying Antonio would fully recover. In less than a month, Antonio has regained much of his movement and is working hard to get all of it back and return to the life he knew just 1 month ago.
Just seeing how much progress I've made from the start, like being able to walk really well with the walker, and just all the good news that I received yesterday that I get to go to prom, so I should be back at school by the end of the month and be able to graduate, and it's just awesome news, and I'm just ready to get back.
Lots of reasons to smile for this two-sport star, forced to spend a month in the hospital and away from his team. But this past Saturday, Antonio got to surprise his team, showing up to a game to lend his support. The hugs and pats on the back, just the latest part of the support Antonio has received during this ordeal.
I'm extremely proud of him. He's not gotten down on himself at all. Why me? He's never said that. He just knows that he's going to get back to where he was, and he's a fighter, and he's going to get there.
The doctors might never be certain what caused the spinal condition, what brought on the paralysis, what changed the life of this teenage sports star in one fateful day. But how it happened is not as important to Antonio as what will happen next.
The doctors think I'm going to be able to make a full recovery. I have so much hope, and I know by getting better every day, since I can remember at Stanford, since I can remember what was going on, getting better every day has just given me so much more drive and makes me want to put that much more effort into getting back.
Last year in December, we produced a story on Les Gaddis senior Tessa Davis, a talented swimmer and water polo player, student, amateur comedian, drama standout, and guitar player. In January of 2015, Tessa Davis passed away after battling an aggressive lung cancer. It hit the Les Gaddis community hard. Tessa knew everybody, From drama class to athletics, she was very well liked. Tessa even won homecoming queen her senior year while she was sick. But Los Gatos High held a special place in Tessa's heart as well.
Los Gatos High School wasn't really just a school, it was an extended part of our family, of her family. We're really happy that she had that.
I think about her, just little passing things. Now that swim season starts, I know it'll bring back a lot of those memories. She was a butterflyer, so just watching kids do butterfly makes me think about her too.
Los Gatos and the pool where Tessa spent so many hours is a treasured space for the Davis family. So Letitia and Mike Davis, Tessa's parents, decided to build a special spot on an already very special place. With help from designer and friend Marcia Rafter and the go-ahead from assistant principal Shelby Edwards, Letitia laid plans to install a bench as colorful as Tessa, with some of her favorite things mixed in, and a lot of her favorite color, purple. And when the day came to dedicate the bench, just as she always did, Tessa brought people together.
We've come together because of it, the whole community. Some people that might not have talked to each other in the past, but people who had some kind of connection with Tessa have come together, and it's started new friendships, started new relationships.
Tessa made an incredible impact on all of us and will forever impact this school. And it is one of my hopes that this bench is just a reminder of the joy that she brought to the school and brought to all of us.
The bench is a good way for the Los Gatos community to remember Tessa. It's something the Davis family does in their Los Gatos Mountains home every minute of every day. They sit in the joy garden they planted after Tessa passed, and they remember.
Well, it's pretty special. I mean, her friends have come here. I mean, it's a place, I think, to feel Tessa. And, so people come to visit when they're thinking about her, so. I'm out here pulling weeds every day, and I sometimes think that, if I could have picked out every cancer cell, I would have just done that all day long.
Tears are still to be expected, of course. But if Tessa's personality would be any indicator, Tessa Davis would probably rather you remember her with a smile.
So here's to you, Tessa, and may we all choose joy today.
Coming up, the wheelchair basketball star and what he is doing now when we come back.
Birthdays aren't canceled. Hope isn't quarantined. First words aren't delayed. Caring isn't postponed. Courage isn't on hold. And love hasn't stopped. U.S. Bank thanks you for keeping all of our spirits strong. We've donated millions to those in need and are always here for our customers and employees.
This is the home of infinite possibilities, where we're setting a new standard of care, where the furthest innovations in medicine connect us back to the simplest forms of healing, where our world-class medical team includes you and those you love most. At Stanford Healthcare, we pride ourselves on providing every kind of care for every kind of patient.
Since 1974, there's been just one goal. One thing we work for. The pursuit binds us together and pushes us forward. One family with one mission. To win for this city Vamos, San Jose.
49ers Cal High Sports Report is brought to you by these fine companies who care about high school sports. By Tri-Counties Bank, service with solutions. 12 locations now open in the Bay Area. By DGDG.com, where we want you to be a happy car buyer. By the Rikes Center, where goals and dreams become a reality. And by Diablo Motors. Life's too short to drive a crummy car.
Each week, U.S. Bank brings us stories of athletes who have overcome adversity in their lives to become future leaders.
Aubrey, this week we meet an amazing young man who at the age of 3 had a heart transplant. Now 15, Ben Thornton is this week's U.S. Bank future leader. To find a passion in your life is to live your life to its fullest. Ben Thornton's passion is wheelchair basketball. His time on the court with his team is the best time in his life.
Well, when I first started, it really gave me a boost of self-esteem, and the people that are here, they lifted me up. They are similar to me, and they all have disabilities, and they are my best friends, and I wouldn't replace them for anything.
The story of how Ben got to this point begins when he was just 3 years old. Ben would get tired quickly and had a persistent cough. Ben was diagnosed with a rare heart ailment, which led him to Lucille Packard Children's Hospital at Stanford.
We examined him, we did an ultrasound called an echocardiogram, and we diagnosed what's called a cardiomyopathy. Cardiomyopathy is a weakness of the heart muscle, and in particular, he had a particular form of cardiomyopathy where the muscle is not only weak, but it also gets very stiff, and that's a very dangerous type of cardiomyopathy.
A short time later, while at the hospital, Ben went into full cardiac arrest. His heart was no longer working. Ben was put on a heart machine designed for adults as a short-term solution. Then, to keep Ben alive until a donor heart could be found, doctors used a new technology.
The Berlin heart was a fairly new device. It was just being introduced on a compassionate use basis in the U.S. It had not even been approved by the FDA, and he was one of the youngest patients to be placed on the Berlin heart at that point.
The Berlin heart kept Ben alive during an agonizing wait for a donor heart.
Day after day after day, and you're just in a holding pattern. And you know, you really don't have any options. You just wait and you try to stay positive, and that's that.
After 55 days, the family got the news a heart was found for Ben. The surgery was a great success, but after surgery, doctors and the family noticed a weakness in Ben's legs.
So with Ben, one of the risks of these pumps, it's the risk of any left ventricular assist device or artificial heart, but particularly so in the small ones that we use for small children, is the risk of a blood clot forming on the device and that blood clot traveling around the body.
Ben would gradually lose nearly all control of his legs.
At first, I was pretty iffy about it. I didn't know what I was going to do, and I didn't know where I was going to go. And I knew I started getting into sports more, and that's how I got into wheelchair basketball. And now I'm really happy with it. I would rather be in a wheelchair than be able to walk at this point in my life.
And that is the positive attitude Ben takes through his life. 12 years after his transplant, Ben keeps on rolling. Wheelchair basketball is his sport. He hopes to play for one of the 9 colleges playing intercollegiate wheelchair basketball. What pushes Ben is the challenge to become the best.
Yeah, it's just strength and training and stuff. I mean, when I first came, I couldn't even hit the net, and now I can almost shoot a three-pointer.
Ben is not alive today without the help of the Berlin heart machine, the care of his doctors and nurses, the support of his family.
But also because of another family who unfortunately had a tragedy and lost a child of their own. But during that moment of their greatest grief, they reached out and said, we want to help somebody else.
The donor family did not want to be known, but the hospital has a program where Ben's family could write a letter to the donor family.
And just thank you. You gave me the gift of life, and I can't really repay that, but that's all I can say is thank you.
Now Ben lives his gift of life to its fullest, the smile on his face showing the pure joy that comes from his passion. Ben is doing very well in school and says a career in medicine might be in his future. He has seen nearly all of what the medical field can give. Ben has a great support group at home and at school and a great group of friends that he's known for a really long time. So for Ben, right now, life is good.
It's amazing. He'd rather be in a wheelchair at this point in his life. That quote was
That's
fantastic.
what he knows.
Yes. Each week, we bring you stories of athletes who have overcome adversity in their lives to succeed in school and in sports.
Kiara Biagini joins us now with the story of a cancer survivor back on the rink with his team.
Robert, tonight we meet Nick Norsha, who is celebrating life in remission. Nick is recovering from leukemia and back to a normal life after a 4-year battle.
Nick Norsha is a sports fanatic. Growing up, he played them all. Basketball, baseball, soccer, golf, roller hockey, you name it, he played it. Nick's life revolved around sports. That was until January 30th, 2014, when Nick's life changed forever.
Well, it happened around midway through 7th grade, probably. I started getting really tired very easily. I wasn't feeling very good. I had a headache. I couldn't focus in school. So I eventually went home, and then I had a regular doctor's appointment that I went to that day. And the doctor noticed I was looking kind of pale. So she asked if she could take my blood to see what my levels were all at. They sent me up to Stanford, and about an hour before my 13th birthday, I got diagnosed with leukemia. So, yeah.
Not exactly the best way to spend your birthday, but right away, brave young Nick accepted reality and began his fight against leukemia with his head held high.
My parents kind of took it a lot worse than me. They were crying, and I'm just like, I had always heard of what leukemia and cancer was, but I never really understood. So I wasn't really all that shaken. I'm just like, all right, I guess this will just be something to kind of go through.
Nick endured 9 months of chemotherapy, poison being pumped through his body. Then Nick began a long and heavy medication regimen, which the 13-year-old impressively managed himself.
As they call it, a medicine cocktail. It's a lot of different chemos. It all affects you differently. There's one that made me lose my hair, but all of them really had the same effect of really weakening your strength.
Being diagnosed with leukemia is never in the game plan. All the doctor's appointments, treatments, and side effects made it very hard for Nick to grow up like a normal kid.
When he was stuck at home or stuck in the hospital, I really felt sad for him, for his social stuff. He didn't get to go to dances. He didn't get to go to school. He didn't get to go play, anything. He didn't get to ride a bike. He didn't get to, and that's the part that was hard for me. I'm a social person and he's a social person. I think the hardest for me was watching him miss out.
But despite the terrible burden laid upon the Norsha family in 2014, there was the other side. The positive side, the overwhelming show of support from his community, friends, and neighbors showing Nick he wasn't fighting this battle alone.
I started to do research and Google it, and I was like, what is leukemia, and going deep and what it does to your body and how it affects you. And it just kind of hit me hard because I'm like, I've known this kid since kindergarten and he's been my best friend. He's always been there for me. So I'm like, I have to be there for him and always make sure that he doesn't feel alone.
And maybe this support is what kept Nick positive during this entire ordeal.
I think it says a lot about him that he never complained. And even now to this day, he doesn't complain, he doesn't use it as an excuse. I mean, he could go into class all the time and say, well, I didn't get this done because, I have leukemia. And I respect him a lot for that because it's easy to fall into that and be a victim to this whole thing. But he never did, and I think that showed a lot of character and a lot about him.
Today, Nick is in remission playing roller hockey for Lee High School. The leukemia is gone and the doctors don't expect it to come back. He's playing sports with life back to normal and a smile on his face.
You just gotta be positive because I think a lot of things would be different if I didn't keep a good mental attitude. If you really stay positive, the bad things don't faze you, and if you just focus on the good, more good will come, and the bad just doesn't really bother you. So it's really just being positive and making sure that you have a community of people that are there for you.
Coming up, the Saratoga basketball player and what she went through to play her senior season.
For more than 65 years, Cupertino Electric has been delivering power and possibilities. With offices throughout California and project sites throughout the U.S., Cupertino Electric today builds renewable, commercial, utility, and data center projects for some of the most influential companies in the world. Beyond that, we are a people company. We build family, communities, and meaningful careers. Visit CEI.com today or connect with us on LinkedIn, Facebook, or other social sites to see our openings and join our team.
Learn more about becoming a warrior. Visit us at vcs.net.
Each week, U.S. Bank brings us stories of athletes who have overcome adversity in their lives to become future leaders.
Aubrey, this week we meet a Saratoga girl who was a 3-sport star until a cancerous tumor threatened to take more from her than just sports. Belle Strawn loves sports, loves the competition, loves her teammates. But 2 years ago, her sports life was taken away on one fateful day.
I felt like a mass behind my left ear, and I thought it was normal. I kind of thought everyone had it. But then I told my parents about it, and we went to the doctors, and they said they weren't quite sure what it was, but maybe I should get further testing.
After a biopsy, Belle was taken to surgery. What was supposed to be a 2-hour procedure turned into an 8-hour surgery to remove a cancerous tumor which had spread to Belle's face.
As I'm sure you can understand, we were out of our minds. And then when the doctor came out and said it was cancerous, I thought, how are we going to go on without her?
The delicate nature of the operation includes a very important nerve, a peripheral nerve that runs through the salivary gland. It's the facial nerve. It controls all the muscles of facial expression on that side.
I was really thankful though, because my surgeon, he was great and he got to get most of that out, and I still have the feeling in my face today. It took a little while to get it back to be able to smile, but now I'm back.
2 weeks following the surgery, Belle went through more tests to see if the cancer was anywhere else in her body. No new cancer was discovered, but the cancer in Belle's face would cause all sorts of problems.
They actually had to open up more of my face than they thought they had to. They had to cut open here and kind of flip over my skin. So I think it was a lot more extensive than they thought, but through like precision and of course a lot more time, they got to get most of it out.
The recovery was tough for a 15-year-old girl who had limited feeling in the side of her face. She couldn't smile and her hearing was affected. Eventually, it would all come back.
She's not a vain girl. That is not important to her. But as a mom, looking at what you see as your little perfect creature, thinking she's going to have this droopy face, but at least she's alive. So grateful for that. So I wanted her to physically feel well, but more importantly, mentally feel well.
But mentally, Belle was struggling. She would never be able to play basketball or lacrosse again, and the rehab from surgery was taking time. One day, her volleyball coach called and asked her to come out and help with the team.
So then I came back during our off season and I helped just pass balls and shag balls and do what I could, and then slowly I started to get back into the swing of things, and once I was cleared to start running, I did some conditioning while I was there, and slowly I just eased back into it, and it was so great.
And because she had been an athlete, when her coach said come as you are, it doesn't matter, just to practices and help out, that was the turning point.
Back on the court, Belle and the Falcons made it to the second round of CCS. Belle's sports life was back. In 2 years, Belle went from not knowing if she would live to working toward a full recovery and enjoying the game and her teammates once again. Ironically, the lesson for Belle was paying more attention to what other people go through every day.
Prior to this, I wasn't quite focused, I think, enough on my peers and all the struggles they went through, but after going through this, and I started to notice other people and I started to ask them how they are and actually take an active role in trying to help out in their lives, and I think that's the greatest thing, and like learning empathy for others and learning to take a proactive interest in their life and help out.
So Belle will head off to college next year. She's got 2 schools that she's deciding between Cal Poly and UC Davis, and says that she might just major in medicine.
Yeah, the doctors did an amazing job. She looks beautiful.
Yeah, incredibly sophisticated surgery, and they were right on point. Coming up, a brother's love for his special needs sister when we come back.
Tri-Counties Bank presents a unique brand of service with solutions, a welcoming and listening style of banking with solutions that help improve your financial well-being. With easy access to over 32,000 surcharge-free ATMs, advanced mobile banking, banker support by phone 7 days a week, and an extensive community-based branch network, you're never far from a friendly face. It's easy to switch to better banking. Tri-Counties Bank, service with solutions.
Why choose Invisalign over other aligners?
Are they comfortable and safe to wear?
I asked her doctor for a better alternative to braces, and he said,
only Invisalign aligners are made with SmartTrack technology. Based on years of research, it moves teeth more comfortably and predictably than ordinary aligners. And in many cases, it works faster than braces. So I can develop a custom treatment plan that'll work for each of these smiles. That's why Invisalign aligners have transformed millions of smiles.
Invisalign, transforming smiles, changing lives.
We wanted an hour with her. That's what we asked. We said, Lord, we want an hour with this child. We want to be able to hold her. We want her brothers to be able to meet her alive. And so she came, and we were excited that she was born and she was alive.
The pain and agony the Hansen family experienced leading up to their third child's birth was torturous. After a routine visit to the doctor, the Hansen family learned the frightening news devastating the family of 4.
Grace was diagnosed in utero, so when Julie was pregnant with her, she was diagnosed with it's a rare chromosome deletion. It's called a 6p24 chromosome deletion. So there were 3 basic outcomes that the doctors told us. 1, she was going to be stillborn. 2, she would be born, but once she was born, she probably wouldn't be able to go very long. She wouldn't be able to breathe, probably live a very short period of time, an hour or less. And then the 3rd outcome was that she was going to survive, but we would have a child that had some severe difficulties and a difficult life ahead.
After the birth, Grace did live, not just a moment or an hour. Soon it became clear their new baby girl was gonna live for a long time despite having severe health complications. Zach, a senior basketball player at the Kings Academy and the oldest of the siblings, was only 5 at the time and did not think any differently about his newborn sister.
Started out just as pure innocence. I didn't really know the difference between her and the other kids, but as I grew up, I saw that unlike me and my other brother, she was a little different. But I think just because she was my sister, I think the entitlement of being her brother just made me love her even more.
Grace is now 11 but has the mind of an infant. Ever since Zach can remember, he has tried to help his parents take care of his younger sister, causing him to grow up a lot faster than the average 17-year-old.
The responsibility, I just see it as my duty to just be with her, and I just want her to be happy and safe. She needs to be fed with assistance, and there's scheduling involved with that, so when I'm home babysitting, I'll feed her through a tube, and I'll change her and make sure she's not drooling all over the place.
When Zach isn't at home helping Grace, he loves to play the game of basketball. There's not one day that goes by where Zach isn't grateful to be out on the court.
I just love the game because I have the ability to, unlike Grace, which I also see as my privilege to just be able to play sports and just give it all out.
He's not really vocal. He leads by example. He's got tremendous character, very conscientious. He's just a team player. He's been just such a great person to have on the team. Never gets down, always enthusiastic, always positive, just so coachable and just a great person to have on the team.
Even though it's not always easy for Zach and his family, the life lessons he has learned at such a young age will last a lifetime.
There's lessons in life that you can't learn unless you go through something. So to me, I look at, you take a situation that appears to be bad, appears to be dire or life-changing, and you look at it after a few years, you kind of look back on it and you say, they've learned some lessons in life that I could never ever teach them in a million years, no matter what kind of setup I did.
Grace comes to Zach's basketball games. She loves the sound of the game. Zach is calm on the court, a rare kind of patience that comes from raising a rare kind of person that is Grace Hansen.
Coming up, a brother's bond, how one brother's support helped the other one survive.
Being in the delivery room and giving birth to a child is one of the most joyous and anxious experiences for any expecting parent. But for Lynn Brum, it was the doctor's voice in the background talking about her baby daughter Emma, leaving her puzzled after just giving birth.
I just vaguely heard the doctor say something behind me, and I still wasn't clear to me what was happening. And the doctor said something to my late husband, and so they kind of whisked her away, and later they came and told me that she was born without part of her arm.
Emma was born without a hand. Without any concrete diagnosis, the Brums quickly adapted. But Emma's family was hit hard once again when her father was diagnosed with brain cancer and died when Emma was just 7 years old.
He was really funny and used to joke around a lot, and he would always play different sports with me outside and stuff. I think he really introduced me to the sports life because my mom was more on the girly side. I took my dad's side with all the sports and stuff. She plays basketball with me outside. She'll help me with my skills. She always gives me encouragement if people are bullying me. She's like, you got this, prove them wrong. And she just gives me inspiring words to help me get through the people that don't accept it.
Despite having the confidence to play a variety of sports, it was Emma's elementary school peers forcing her to become even more comfortable with who she was and only having one arm.
I used to play kickball with the boys, and they never wanted me on their team or anything because they thought I couldn't do it. And one day I got on their team and I totally killed it. But words do hurt, but I've learned to, in high school, it's very, people are inspired by it. And so one day my mom got me to watch Bethany Hamilton's Soul Surfer, and she inspired me so much, so I wanted to be able to do that to other people. So I pretty much just turned down the words, and I'll just say what she said, she got bit by a shark or something, because it's pretty funny. People get scared, and like if they go to touch it, I'll pretend like it hurts just to like give them a little joke.
She's a very determined child, and she doesn't let anything hold her back. She'll just do it. And if she can't do it, at least she'll try to do it.
Now a freshman at St. Francis, Emma continues to push herself in the classroom and on the court. She even played water polo in the fall. No matter what, Emma never asks for any special treatment and pushes herself to continue to improve.
First, I have her in class, so I knew she was an energetic kid who kind of had a lot of spirit, but you know, we also had seen her in some camps and stuff, brings high energy everywhere she goes. Classroom, basketball floor, we try to play an up-tempo style, and she fits in because she is athletic. I don't think she's the kind of kid that wants attention and doesn't look for it, and I think that's what helps her fit in with what we do.
It's been a struggle, but they challenge me because I don't like to be treated differently, so I like to be able to do everything that everyone else does, so I push myself to be able to do those drills. It wasn't very hard because I still have my elbow, I'm still able to bend it, so I use this as support to be able to pass and shoot the ball.
A role model to so many, Emma can't help but keep a positive attitude, and her mom can't help but show a beaming smile when thinking of her daughter.
I'm so proud. She's such an inspiration to so many people. I mean, I take her to work and people call her the mayor. They're like, she's so inspirational and such a sweet girl, and she's just so kind and a love.
Just be yourself, you know, no one can take that from you. It's all about you, and if you just believe in yourself that you can accomplish what other people can, you will be able to do it.
Only 15 years old, but well beyond her years, a kind-hearted, determined student athlete looking to make everyone better around her.
Each week we bring you stories of athletes who have overcome adversity in their lives to succeed in school and in sports.
Robert, when a family member is told they have cancer, the entire family's world is turned upside down. 3 years into his younger brother Devin's battle with cancer, Ryan Brock has made it his duty to maintain a normal life for Devin. For Ryan Brock, sports are a getaway. In the pool, it's all about competition and the connection with his teammates. The only thing connecting Ryan to his reality, this gold ribbon, symbolizing his younger brother Devin's fight with cancer.
Playing with my teammates and laughing with them and focusing on the game takes me out of my family situation. It just, puts me in the game.
On October 20th, 2014, Devin was diagnosed with sarcoma, cancer in the bones and connective tissues. Just a year earlier, his aunt died from the same disease.
So it wasn't like a new feeling, but the only really feeling was like how could this happen to my family? It hurt for a little bit, but it was mainly just like, all right, well, let's get through this.
You just kind of hit the ground running when your child's told they have cancer. There's no preparation. It's literally, we're moving forward. You have a surgery, and then you hope it works.
Growing up, the two brothers bonded over sports, but now their time together is spent a little differently.
Instead of playing outside, we're just playing on the computer and like helping him with, whatever that is he needs help with.
Whenever I'm sad, Ryan will generally try and cheer me up or something.
Every 3 weeks for the past 7 months, Devin flies to Tennessee to get treatment from St. Jude's Hospital. Over 2,000 miles apart, Ryan uses computer games as a way to stay connected to his younger brother.
One of the biggest things that Ryan does for Devin is he's just there emotionally for him. When you're a younger kid anyway with cancer, it can be kind of isolating. He's not going to school, he can't play sports anymore. So I think Ryan tries to normalize that as much as possible for him.
Ryan, trying to normalize a life for his brother while trying to do that exact thing for himself.
In his senior year and everything going on and trying to move on, I see him trying to balance his life and spend time with his brother, but also try and have time with his girlfriend or going out.
Water polo, SATs, college applications, Ryan says he does get caught up in the hustle and bustle that is senior year.
Sometimes I do when I start to lose sight, because it's been 3 years, it's when is this gonna end? And then I try and put myself in his shoes, but I really can't imagine that. I don't even like being touched by a needle. The first thing comes to my mind is a little needle, and he takes a lot of those, and I don't like to think about that, so I can't imagine it.
He's had upfront close realization that, okay, bad things happen, and then it's just how you handle it that can make a difference.
So more just understand what matters most in my life. Little things can suck sometimes, but I normally just let them go past and sort of just focus on my family and Devin.
Understanding what matters most, Ryan will swim on in his life, never forgetting to pause for air when his family, and especially his little brother Devin, need him the most.
Devin is at the end of his treatment. The family will know in December if it worked. And as for Ryan, he's hoping to attend UC Santa Cruz in the fall. We just wish the best of luck to the Brock family.
Yeah, and going to Santa Cruz, he can stay close by, still help out his brother, and of course getting great support from his mom as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, all right, thanks, Aubrey. Coming up, the synchronized swimmer succeeding in the pool and helping others do the same. The Raquel Bowles story next.
Birthdays aren't canceled. Hope isn't quarantined. First words aren't delayed. Caring isn't postponed. Courage isn't on hold. And love hasn't stopped. U.S. Bank thanks you for keeping all of our spirits strong. We've donated millions to those in need and are always here for our customers and employees.
When I first came here, my goal was to be a contributing player on my high school's JV football team. The center actually not only helped me achieve my goals, but exceed even what I initially set out to do. I was able to continue playing football professionally through a lot of the things that I learned at the Rega Center. The Rega Center is a place to help you achieve your goals and then, tailor it to whatever the person's goals might be.
Devcon Construction is #1 in the Bay Area and Silicon Valley because of trust. 95% of our business comes from repeat customers. They know the customer is our top priority. That's why Devcon was the choice for the 49ers Stadium and for the Earthquake Stadium. Devcon was also chosen when outstanding schools like Bellarmine, the Nueva School, and Mitty wanted the very best on time and on budget. Top Bay Area companies know Devcon is the best choice whether it's new construction or renovation. Devcon Construction, helping to build the best in Silicon Valley.
At just 17 years old, Raquel Bowles travels around the world, competing in international synchronized swimming competitions. a spectacular feat for an athlete who swims without the use of one side of her upper body.
I have limited range of motion in my arm and shoulder.
Raquel has Erb's palsy. A birth injury caused her left shoulder and arm to be partially paralyzed. She was introduced to water therapy as a way to build strength.
I was told when I was a kid I won't ever be capable of using it like my other arm. And so that kind of being told what I couldn't do didn't work for me, When I started synchronized swimming, it became like a therapy for my arm, and it helped me expand my range of motion and really kind of adapt with my disability and work with it.
Raquel fell in love with the sport, so she began to compete.
When I first started synchronized swimming, I'm very sure, I was the worst on the team for like 2 or 3 years.
It wasn't enough for Raquel to simply compete, no. Raquel wanted to win, so she spent countless hours in the pool perfecting the craft.
I was so fed up with being told of what I couldn't do, not just by my doctors, but by some of my old coaches who didn't believe in me and said that, why are you even doing synchronized swimming? This is totally not your niche.
There they go again, telling Raquel what she couldn't do. So again, she sought to prove them wrong, and she did so by taking home gold medals in national and international competitions. But this time, she decided to fight not only for herself, but for all disabled synchronized swimmers.
Synchronized Swimming for Athletes with Disabilities was an organization and nonprofit we started a couple of years ago to really advocate for synchronized swimmers that have physical and cognitive disabilities, because we've found over the years that people in synchronized swimming that do have disabilities are very underrepresented. And so we thought that that was a problem that needed to get fixed. And we needed to come up with a solution that helps keep the sport inclusive.
Like a light switch just turned on, and she said, I suppose I'm not the only one with this issue, so I'm going to open the doors for everybody.
The organization's biggest goal is to make synchronized swimming a Paralympic sport for the 2028 Olympics. On a smaller scale, Raquel and her family formed a club in the Bay Area which welcomes disabled and able-bodied athletes. Ready? She helps coach the team.
You don't decide that you want to be born with a disability, and so your whole life you're going to get stuck with something that, is qualified and people tell you it's a disability, but I think my goal with this team was to make people believe that their disability is an ability.
Raquel says she plans to spend her life convincing those who are told they can't that they truly can.
If synchro is approved as a Paralympic sport, Raquel's goal is to compete a couple of times, bring home some medals, and then be a lifelong coach.
Yeah, she's outstanding. And great that she's doing that so more people can get involved.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming up, Jalen Thomas, the amazing two-way starter for the Freedom Falcons. His story is next.
49ers Cal High Sports Report is brought to you by these fine companies who care about high school sports. By Cupertino Electric, the company delivering power and possibilities and celebrating student athletes making a positive impact. By Invisalign, winning smiles start here. Learn more at Invisalign.com. By Stanford Healthcare. And by the Serino Group, here for good.
Hi, I'm Lucy Wiedemeyer, longtime broker with Serino Group. And my husband, Charlie Wiedemeyer, and I are longtime supporters of high school sports.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Pazine with Serino Group Real Estate, representing Palo Alto and the surrounding communities. I'm proud to support Bay Area high school sports on the 49er Cal High Sports Report.
Each week we bring you stories of athletes who have overcome adversity in their lives to succeed in school and in sports.
Robert, tonight we share the story of Jalen Thomas. Jalen is by definition a team player. He will play anywhere his coach tells him and anywhere his team needs him. And what's so special about that is he doesn't see anything special about it.
When the sun sets on Freedom High School and those Friday night lights shine on the football field, that's when the Falcons' vision becomes the clearest. Finishing undefeated in a tough league last season, the Freedom Falcons have their sights set on a repeat. All made possible by the 16 seniors filling the roster. Seniors like Jalen Thomas.
Watch out for the secondary.
This guy does it all. Kicks, throws, holds, catches, defense, offense. Most players like to stick to one position, maybe two. Well, from the first time Jalen stepped onto the field, he was already one of a kind.
You never want to ask a kid about, about being different.
And with Jalen, it was pretty obvious. You know, he was in my freshman class, and, you know, I went up and approached him, and I knew he played football. And we started talking about it. He's like, Coach, I'm good. I'm like, all right. And from then on, it hasn't been an issue.
Jalen is completely blind in his left eye.
I was born without a pupil in my eye, and it wasn't developed. My eye didn't fully develop when I was in the womb, so they tried to do surgeries, and I've had multiple since I was born. I had my first one when I was 2 weeks old.
The blue in Jalen's eye is scar tissue. That was a side effect from all of the surgeries.
Did not vote for me.
And although they didn't work, Jalen says he never let his vision stop him from doing what he wanted to do.
I'm trying to go for a deep score.
And Jalen wanted to play football.
When I first started, my parents, they were kind of worried. They were just worried I would get like hit from the blind side, or like I wouldn't be able to see one side of the field. But I kind of just went with the flow and just built off of that and learned to just play how everyone else would play.
To be able to catch these balls with one good eye, that's pretty remarkable. In order to create depth and make it really accurate, you got to have both eyes working together. If you were to close one eye and look at the same object, it'll be off to the side, and with the same object with the other eye is off to the side. And the brain uses the distance between the two objects to kind of figure out, you know, how far things are. There's really no vision on one side of his world. And so somehow if he's able to do that, I think that's pretty remarkable.
I just go out there and I just play and I just don't even think about it.
He's a good quarterback. I mean, plays wide out for us, safety.
What's the swing?
He has zero limitations, and from day one, you would never know that, you know, the way he plays on the field, his vision and everything, that, you know, he only has sight in one eye, and that's, to me, pretty amazing.
When I heard the story, it kind of amazed me because it doesn't slow him down. It doesn't affect how you play.
Ronell Snell is Jalen's best friend. He says having a friend and teammate like Jalen is inspiring.
It's very motivating because it's like through all the challenges, you could still prosper.
When Jalen wears his helmet,
don't move.
The face mask might be able to cover up his uniqueness, but he says he's not hiding anything.
I grew up just trying to use it as a blessing from God, so I just play like everybody else will play, and I don't use it as an excuse because I don't really like excuses, so I just play to the best of my ability every game and play every play like it's my last.
Such an amazing kid. I just couldn't believe how many positions he played. I couldn't keep up with him at practice.
Well, the truly amazing thing is that he just with one eye has no depth perception, and he catches the ball just like anybody else. Coming up, the softball player inspired every day by the memory of her father, Lauren Hendrickson's story is next. But first, here's this week's training tip from our good friends at the Rikus Center.
Hi, I'm Coach Jack, and today's training tip is half kneel, curl to press. Lauren is going to take a dumbbell and get in a half kneeling stance. She's going to curl the dumbbell and then press it over her head. She'll do 6 to 8 reps each side and then switch knees and do her left side. And that is half kneel, curl to press.
Each week, U.S. Bank brings us stories of athletes who have overcome adversity in their lives to become future leaders.
Robert, part of just a normal week, we went out to shoot highlights for the West Catholic League softball game with Valley Christian and St. Ignatius. It was one of the best games we shot this year, and tonight we bring you the story behind the thrilling ending.
It's Valley Christian versus St. Ignatius, with the Warriors just 2 league wins away from clinching the West Catholic League title. Down by a run in the bottom of the 6th, the Warriors' Casey Zobak hits a homer to center to tie it up at 1. The game heads into extra innings, and in the top of the 8th, a bases-loaded walk puts SI up by 1 going into the home half of the inning. It's do-or-die time for VC. Zobak leads off the inning with a base hit to right, bringing up Lauren Hendrickson.
My last at-bat, I was like, okay, I need to do something here. And so I was like, okay, like, come on, Dad, like, help me out. And so I got out to bat, and then the first pitch, I just saw it, and I was like, I could tell.
Lauren needed only 1 pitch. She sends it deep to left and over the fence, a 2-run walk-off homer to win the game, Lauren's first home run of the season. You can credit this amazing moment to skill, training, and maybe even luck. But according to Lauren, she had a little extra help that day. On January 20th, just 14 weeks earlier, Lauren's dad, Winston, lost his battle to esophageal cancer.
When I first found out, I was
like really devastated because I didn't know like how long he would have or how severe it was, and it was hard seeing him change from like not working, being home, and then like his like face starting to change, his body, and you could just tell, and like seeing how worse it's getting, and just like living every day like you don't know when he's going.
Number 11, Lauren Hendrickson, is joined today by her mom, Teresa, and godfather, Jim Zanier.
On Lauren's senior day, her godfather stands in for her dad. The day celebrates Lauren's last season playing at Valley Christian. She'll head off to college in the fall to play softball at the University of San Diego.
I plan on him coming to my graduation and senior day and all that, and it was hard knowing that. I know he's still watching, but it was hard not having him here physically to see me play.
Winston was so strong. From the day of diagnosis, we were all so surprised because he's the most healthiest man, never had a cold in his life. I told him, we got this. Never in my life we thought this was going to happen.
A tragedy like this could have broken anyone, but not Lauren.
I needed to stay on top of everything and like help him out as much as I can and drive him where he needs to go because he's on like medications, or just be with him and help around with the house because he couldn't do as much anymore.
I thought for a moment, what was this going to do to her? I sat back and watched, and we could not be more proud of her.
In the classroom, Lauren has continued to earn straight A's. And on the field, she's having her best season yet, batting over 400.
She has a lot of Winston in her, and she made a promise to him that she was going to make him proud, and she has done it so far.
I just want to make my dad proud because I know he's a smart guy, and I just want to live up to, like, I want to be on top of everything, like with good grades, and I want to make him proud with softball, and that's the least I owe him.
The inspiring walk-off home run helped Valley Christian finish its season undefeated in league, WCAL champions. Lauren says she owes everything to her dad, including this unforgettable moment, and now Lauren will spend the rest of her life trying to pay him back for all he has given her.
Lauren says her coaches at Valley Christian were a big reason why she was able to bounce back and have such a successful year. It'll be hard for her to spend the next 4 years playing without her dad, but she knows he's going to be there every step of the way.
Yeah, very sad, but what a tremendous season Valley Christian had this year. All right. Thanks for watching. That's our season for this year. We'll see you back here for a full season of sports this fall. We'll see you then.